Welcome back, everybody. I am Chad Treese. This is Lacey Moores, and this is the Secret Sauce Podcast.
Yes.
What are we talking about today? Set me up.
Well, we're gonna change things up a little bit here.
Okay.
Because we just got back, guys, from a rally, a sales rally, I guess is what we would call it.
It's like our company's version of like Mega Camp.
Yeah, our company's version where we go down and Chad was on main stage and you brought it. I mean, you were the highest rated speaker that we had, and
almost.
You were.
It's tough to beat Rob.
It was unbelievable. But the topic, I just want to bring it here. Once you got done speaking, I was so beyond moved, but I wanted to talk about it on our podcast because it was so good. Absolutely just magical. And it wasn't really what you were supposed to be speaking about as a coach on stage. And you just decided to get up there in front of everybody. And what was your even term? What'd you say that you're going to do?
It was supposed to be about because we had done a podcast episode on 6 steps to avoid call reluctance, to overcome sale call reluctance.
And so they asked you to speak on that, but you get up there and you said, I'm going
rogue.
Yeah. That was your term. I'm going rogue and I want to talk about something else. And instantly people were, oh, okay. And listen up, perking up a little bit, and you just crushed it. And I'd love to kind of dive into that. I'll just let you kind of take over. I'd love to help or talk through this, but just the shift, Chad, that I've seen over you in the last couple years. And that talk was so, even moving for me on what do I got to do? What do I got to change? What do I got to be focusing on right now? So take it off.
Yeah. So essentially we're like the concept or the whole talk was around the 4 C's. Yep. Like I kind of put this together and there's 4 C's, I think, to not to overcome call reluctance, but to, I don't even know, like for just self-improvement, for like a quest for lifelong learning. It's kind of what it was all about. I've really developed this thirst or passion for learning something new every single day. And I probably talk about that too much. People are probably sick of hearing me talk about that. I'm like addicted to learning, but it was just what was really relevant for me.
Sure.
And I feel like it has kind of driven this, I don't know, second or third act of my career. As I needed a reboot, I needed something to fall back in love with the grind, and to push myself further. Right. And so I came up with the 4 C's, and it's basically to help get yourself towards becoming a lifelong learner, or to spark that interest. So the first C.
I want to say something really quick before you dive into the 4 C's. You said something right there. This is your second or your third act in your career.
Sure.
And that resonates with me, and I'm sure with so many other listeners out there, and it could be in your career, like a different industry change, but for us, we've been in the same industry for a long time. And you do feel like you've been running a marathon for a long time. You do get what we call sometimes crispy or, burnout.
Sure.
Some people or whatever. And so for you to say that, like, that's okay. And it's okay to acknowledge that I'm in the second act or the third act. But what do I want it to be different, right? Do I want it to be the same, or do I want it to be different?
Yeah.
And I just wanted to acknowledge that, because for me, I'm like, this whole talk that you did, I wanted to redefine my next act in my career, in my industry, and what I do. So keep going.
That's awesome. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see that. So yeah, the first C, I think, is the most important one, but is to really just dive into curiosity.
Yep.
Being curious every single day in lots of ways. I'm going to focus on like one specific way, but I think curiosity just in general, like go deeper in anything, ask more questions, go, peel the layers back. But in this instance, what I'm talking about with curiosity is literally like being open to, being willing to learn something new every single day, and to actually be intentional around creating time for that. So with that, I think, we're busy, right? We've got during the day, everybody is. You've got life. Life's going to happen, and if you don't make time for it, it's just not going to happen. So Personally, I think the very best time to do it, it's going to be different for different people, but for me, early in the morning, before my house gets chaotic.
Yep.
So I get up before everybody else in the house.
Yep.
And instead of like jumping on my phone and starting to put out fires or being reactive, I set aside time that I either am going to the gym or take the dogs on a walk. But about 5:15 in the morning, I get up and get out and get moving in some way. But I put on headphones and I'm just diving into podcasts or audiobooks. I love podcasts and audiobooks. Not that I don't love reading, but you can speed it up. You can double time it. You can listen at 1.5 or 2 times speed on those things.
That's a huge tactic right there,
yeah,
right?
You can listen.
You get through something a lot faster if you need to, if you have limited time. Yeah.
Yeah, you can get an hour's worth of learning in 45 or 30 minutes.
Yep.
So you can supercharge it. So I love that, and I'm committed to an hour every day at least of learning something new.
Wow.
I think a lot of people will hear that and be like, no way, I don't have time for it.
Yep.
Right. And I would challenge that. And I would say, it's not that you don't have time. It's that you just haven't made it a priority. We all have the same amount of time in our day, right? We're all super busy. I just, in the last couple of years, have made it a super big priority, and it was never a priority before. So this is 22 years in, 20 years of my career, I was not doing this.
Yep.
But it's definitely what I needed now, and has helped me kind of continue to evolve and grow in my career. So yeah, curiosity, an hour of it every single day, intentional. If you feel like you don't have time, I'll tell you this: the average commute in America is 26 minutes each way.
Yep.
So if you're around that average, you got 52 minutes every single day when you're in the car with nothing else going on. Instead of listening to the radio, put on a podcast or an audiobook or something, you can knock it out there. If you go anywhere else during the day, like loan officers and realtors are probably in their car more than just the commute to the office and the commute home. We're going to closings, buyer consults, we're meeting with people, we're out doing milk runs, like everything that we're doing. So you got plenty of time.
Sure.
You just got to start doing it more intentionally.
Priority.
Yeah.
And so what would you say then, after you're curious and you're finding the time to put this in, like what's that next step? What's that next C?
Yeah, I mean, the curiosity piece is so big just because it does. You start neural pathways in your brain start to open up. Your brain starts to fire differently. You are actually like getting dopamine hits from it. It does affect the whole rest of your day. So before we want to jump in, I just want to mention that if not just learning everything
in the morning, right?
Yeah, if not learning it and then actually like trying to put it in action, just the learning aspect of it is huge. Right? But I think don't just learn just for learning. You got to put it in practice, right? So the second C that I came up with on it is creativity or creation. So you got to go from curiosity mode into creation or creativity mode. And again, I think that you need to have time on your calendar for this, or you're not going to do it. So I think this you could work into your workday is time to actually create, because now you're like, how can I implement something around that? Yeah. So I'm always looking for ways, how can I implement this? Or how can I, if I hear something that was like, man, this would be great for my realtor partners, how can I help them implement this thing? Right. So I'm going to go learn how to implement it so then I can talk to them about it. So creativity mode, I use AI a ton for this. It's like, hey, how can I implement this concept into my business? And it's going to shoot out some step-by-step stuff. So don't overthink it. Like legitimately, there's a whole world of information at our of technology at our fingertips, right? A whole world of information at our fingertips. Like, go use it. Google, Gemini, ChatGPT. You can implement stuff real fast with that, but you have to create time around it. So I think another hour, whether it's every day or twice a week, whatever it is, in your calendar, defined that you're not getting interrupted, where you go into creativity mode.
Absolutely. We were on a coaching call because we get coached together by our owner and another guy on there. And we were trying to come up with a list, right, of what we on a project that we're working on, and we're going round robin and we're all giving ideas, all pretty good ideas. How long do you think we spent doing that? 20 minutes?
It was probably about 20 minutes. Yeah, we were trying to figure out all the things that you could have a virtual assistant do for you in your business.
We came up with some really good ideas and wrote them all down, get off the call, and I'm probably 3 minutes after getting off the call, You sent us all an email and said, okay, we just did that, but here is what I pulled off AI in seconds, and here's a list of 100.
Yeah, I went to Google Gemini and said, give
Yep.
me a list of 100 things that a virtual assistant could do for my business as a mortgage originator,
And boom.
and
Yep.
spit out 100 ideas.
Yep.
Just like that.
So that's fun though. I mean, it was still fun for us to do the do it together, but for you to turn around and add that list, like the options were endless, right? Like,
totally.
I mean, there's so many things that we got out of that pretty dang quickly. I love it. Okay, keep going.
All right, so yeah, to kind of keep this as brief as possible, we'll go on to step 3. So first is curiosity, then creativity or creation mode, and then I think from there to move it into your sales cycle, because we're talking on this podcast, we're talking to loan officers and realtors, basically, right? Or maybe salespeople in general. But to move into your sales cycle, now how can I use those things to collaborate with other people, because it's so powerful to then share that information with other people. So I'm talking like create some mastermind groups, where I've learned this thing, I've figured out how it can help my business, I've implemented it in my business. Now let's go share it with people, get their feedback, how they implement it, and then we're bouncing ideas off of each other. So go into collaboration mode, because now you can sell it.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And for me, like, I need something. If I'm going to pick up the phone and call a realtor, for example, I want to have massive value. And so for me, if I'm always learning something, always going into creation mode on it, then I always have something to call them and say, hey, I just learned this thing. Like, I'm super excited about it. It's helping me. I think it would be awesome for you. Can I stop by and show you like what I did?
I love that piece. So that part, and I'm just going to stop there for a second, because that part is so important. You and I both get coached, but we also both coach. And for years and years and years, I said the gift of coaching isn't just the information that you receive, but that you get really good once you start receiving it and then figuring out who you can share it with pretty quickly.
Totally.
Right. So re-gifting, receiving the gift and re-gifting. And so on coaching, when I coach my students all the time, I always have to stop right there when I teach something. And then I have to say, how would you share that with somebody else? And get them into that, back to your creativity or creation mode, like get them to think through that on, wow, that was really good. Like, something you just taught me was really good. Now, how could I take that and share that with the people that I need to share it with? And that's where you start 2Xing it, right? That's where you start, and it gets exciting and you collaborate. So we're all, all these things, all these C's you're saying, like I see that in the things that we do, and it is so huge. And just as an important piece, but I just wanted to stop and say that, like, you're how much value when someone comes to me and teaches me something or shares something that will help my business, like, you just feel, wow, that was so much value. And that's,
you feel cared for at a different level.
At a whole different level.
Yeah.
Whole different level. Okay, sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, I appreciate it. It's so simple too, right? Like, this is not brain surgery that we're talking about. So I think a lot of people will listen to this and be like, oh, cool, so I should listen to podcasts. Like, great episode. Yeah, but I'm listening to a podcast of you telling me I should listen to podcasts.
Exactly.
But if that's what you get from this, like, I would challenge you to go a little bit further with it, right? Because go into creation mode, make time for it, be intentional, start sharing it with people, because yes, that's super powerful. And then, so the collaboration mode is like, we're bouncing ideas off of each other, bring people into that learning with you. Yeah. And then the last piece, and this is probably the most challenging for people, is to go into coaching mode. But if now you're a subject matter expert on something, go share it with people. And not like, yes, it's powerful to collaborate on it. But even further than that, like, once you've mastered something, that's what I'm looking for. Is like, how can I master something? Daily, little ways of daily mastery. If I master something, it's selfish of me not to go coach somebody back on that. Right. So I got to get out of my own way, because I do get in my own way. I'm like, oh, they wouldn't want to hear this from me or whatever, but I'm getting out of my shell on that. And, so the coaching mode, I think, is super, super important. You learn a ton when you're coaching people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And always being coached as well, right? Like, just always being coached, always help learning and helping coach other people. There is so much dopamine in it, as you go through it. And then when people come back to you later and they're like, you said this to me, or you told me this. That's what I think is so powerful about always being in curiosity mode and learning, is because sometimes you'll learn something and it may help you right away, and it may not. but you never know when what you learned right there is going to help somebody the next day or the next day, right? And you're like, you can share it and you can help them and send them whatever it is that you listen to. It when you're constantly feeding your mind and soul, like you're constantly, giving it that nutrition, you're so much healthier to be able to share it.
Yeah. And for me, like I start vibrating on a different frequency to not sound like kind of weird or anything, but I'm not super spiritual, but I'm like, when I'm learning new stuff, I have a smile on my face more. I am more active. Things are moving faster. Like I just feel like I'm on a little bit different plane.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Yeah. And that's where I want to be. Right. Sure. So I know that that's when I am on that level, like I'm in the zone, that I need to figure out ways to get back there. And for me, it's just entering curiosity mode starts the process. And then the rest of it, like keep going through that 4-step: curiosity, creation, collaboration, coaching.
I love it. Well, so those are them. Those are the 4 C's.
Those are the 4.
Let's do it again one more time. So first is curiosity.
Yep.
Then going into creativity or collaboration mode.
Creation. Creativity or creation mode. Yep.
Then it's collaboration. And then the 4th is the last step is to then coach it. Yeah,
coach it. Yeah. So we put on, like, for example, we put on a mastermind or a master class this week on unreasonable hospitality. I have spent so much time studying unreasonable hospitality that it became such a passion that have I mastered it? No, but I'm pretty far along in that process that it is a super big passion of mine that we needed to share it. I felt like it would be selfish if we didn't. So we packed a room this week with people wanting to learn about how to do that for their business. And that fills my cup up too, is to coach back. So that's the mission that I'm on right now. It's the magic for sure.
I love it.
Yeah. You want to close? I'll close this. You want me? I'll close it out. Lacey doesn't like closing out the show, guys. She gets nervous every time.
I don't get nervous. I'll mess it up.
Well, I just figured it was because you were nervous. Thanks for listening, guys. If this was helpful, please share it. I know you're not going to probably subscribe and like and all that stuff, but if you would do us a favor and share it with somebody,
they might.
Who knows? I would love it if you did. But if you're not, I mean, I don't want to be the guy that's like, smash that like button, but just share it with somebody, please. We're not trying to gain anything from this. This isn't a moneymaker thing. We're just trying to get good information out to people.
Absolutely.
I love it. We'll see. I guess we'll see you guys next time. Yep. Thanks for picking my brain, Lacey.
Thanks.
See ya.